Hello. Good. It's on. Asallallahu masa'akum bi kulli khair. My name is Maurice Pomerantz. I'm the director of the NYU Abu Dhabi Institute in Abu Dhabi, I guess I would say. I'm here. I'm also a professor of classical Arabic literature at NYU Abu Dhabi. Tell you a little bit about the Institute before we get started. Since its inception in 2009, the NYU Abu Dhabi Institute in Abu Dhabi and New York has provided a platform for exchange about the newest developments in research and scholarship across disciplines. The Institute in New York offers the Washington Square community opportunities to hear experts talk about their research, its societal relevance, technological and cultural impact, and importance for the world at large, ranging from artistic and creative innovations to issues of equity and inclusion, public health, environmental sustainability, among many others. As a hub for a vibrant scholarly public engagement, the Institute is unparalleled in the Gulf region, and we're pleased to offer programming and extend the Institute's reach here at 19 Washington Square North. NYU Abu Dhabi's home in New York. I'm thrilled to be here as always, and would like to extend my thanks to Ralph Raymond, Sharon Bergman, the director, Michael Ruopeng, and the rest of the amazing NYU Abu Dhabi Institute team here, who've always made this a home away from home for me, many of the students and faculty of NYU Abu Dhabi when we're here in New York. And it's my distinct pleasure to soon cede the floor to Professor Damon McCoy, who is currently professor at the Tannen School of Engineering here at NYU, where he directs the Center on Cybersecurity. Professor McCoy was a 2023-2024 19 Washington Square North Faculty Fellow. So we run fellowships here as well. He focused during his fellowship here on trustworthy and secure AI-based text generation. More broadly, Professor McCoy's research focuses on empirically measuring the security and privacy of technology systems and their intersections with society. Currently, his work centers on online payment systems, the economics of cybercrime, automotive systems, privacy-enhancing technologies, and censorship resistance. I thought he'd be the perfect person to introduce our speaker. So take it away, please.
Thank you very much. So it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Ruopeng, who is a leading expert in obesity epidemiology and public evaluation. He's definitely a noted interdisciplinary data scientist and an internationally recognized scholar in applying artificial intelligence to address public health disparities and social inequality. He currently holds the Constance and Martin Silver Endowed Professorship in Data Science and Prevention and serves as the director of the Constance and Martin Silver Center on Data Science and Social Equality. Dr. An is also an elected fellow of the American Science and Social Equality. Dr. An is also an elected fellow of the American Academy of Health Behavior and the American College of Epidemiology. His research has been featured in a great number of outlets. So it's been featured in Time, the New York Times, the LA Times, the Washington Post, Reuters, USA Today, Bloomberg, Forbes, The Atlantic, The Guardian, Fox, NPR, and CNN. So a large group of journalists have covered his research, and his research is funded by various federal agencies and public and private organizations, including OpenAI, Abbott, and Amgen. So with that, I will introduce Ruopeng.
Thank you so much, Dr. McCoy, for the nice introduction. And thank you everyone for coming at this trying time So I'll try to make my presentation as delightful and entertaining as possible. But well, I know that entertainment in academia, the bar is pretty low. But if I couldn't reach the bar, no, we have receptions later on. So I'm looking forward to that. So let me quickly turn to my slides. So the presentation probably will take about 50-ish minutes, and we should have ample time for questions. Let's see. Just this work. Okay, fantastic. So today's talk is really about AI for social good, and we'll introduce a number of projects we have been doing or have done in this domain. And first, a brief introduction for Center. The Constance Martin Silver Center on Data Science Social Equity was established in 2021, thanks to our fantastic Silver family who donated the center. And the center, our vision is to chart a shared path between AI and empathy. So that is, a lot of people ask, what is the social worker's role in AI, right? Why you didn't mess up with AI? I would say, well, no, I think the AI won't really bring empathy and compassion automatically. So we need some human input into that. And social workers are great in bringing this lens of empathy into the AI domain. And our mission is to leverage data science for social change and equity. We have three bold goals. One is to advance research. We try to improve the health outcomes and social outcomes for all people, one spreadsheet at a time. And we also try to equip future leaders so that they can have the data as their sword and empathy as the shield, so that no injustice can ever stand. And we are also trying to build impactful partnership. We firmly believe that in order to go further, go long, we need to go together rather than rushing alone. Okay, so I give AI a different acronym. It stands for AIM for Impact. So in this presentation, we'll just briefly go over some of the projects that fall into the scientific impact, educational impact, and social impact. And I apologize in advance because sometimes I will go really fast because we can spend hours on one of those projects. But I know you'll be bored, so we'll go fast. Hopefully it's entertaining. For scientific impact, we are going to introduce a number of projects. For example, we use AI to fight disinformation, misinformation, social media. We promote precision nutrition. We try to inform policy in real time. We also advance disease monitoring and diagnosis. And finally, we use AI to try to revolutionize research tooling. So regarding how we fight misinformation, the first project is about exaggerations in health news, because a lot of time as researchers, we were really bothered by how the social media and mass media disseminate our study findings. And there were a lot of exaggerations that they're very subtle. They are not really correct or incorrect, but they are not exactly in the way we want to promote our study. Some of the exaggerations, common exaggerations include: one, infer causality from observational studies. The study is observational in nature, but we talk about RCT results, right? Second is we try to infer human outcome from animal study, right? The study is about rats, but we talk about a human being. And then sometimes the news article talk about decent outcomes. The study is really about how the intervention can reduce its calorie consumption, but then the news article is about how to reduce obesity, right? We know there's a mismatch. And finally, a lot of time we see the study is really about intervention or observational study done on a convenience sample, but the news article is about the overall impact on the general older adult population. So what we did is we identified 500 plus exaggerated news, unfortunately, from many of the well-known news outlets, right? CNN, NPR, CBS, Health Day, etc. And we paired each headline, exaggerated headline, with its scientific publications title and abstract to know exactly which study they refer to. And then we also have wonderful students drafting an exaggeration-free headline for each scientific publication. So in this case, you have three things, right? You have the exaggerated headline, you have the exaggeration-free headline, and you also have the original study. So therefore, we use this information to train large language model that we are not familiar with to generate exaggeration-free headlines. The model is great at identifying exaggeration headlines. The accuracy is about 93%. And what is amazing is that they can automatically change an exaggeration headline into a non-exaggerated headline. For example, the original headline is yogurt contributed to obesity epidemic study claims, but actually the study is not about obesity, it's about too much sugar in the yogurt product in UK. So therefore, the model corrected headline is most yogurt products in the UK have too much sugar to be considered healthy. Another project we are working on, we have two studies, two recent research projects on this, that is to identify and autocorrect COVID-19 related fake claims on social and mass media. So we know that COVID-19 related misinformation, disinformation is very prevalent in most of the social media platforms. And on the other hand, the generative AI is not very good at catching those mistakes, those errors, because it tends to hallucinate, right? This is a well-known word nowadays that, for example, if you ask the ChatGPT to give you the references, right, for study and give you like 5 beautifully formatted APA references, but none of them actually exist, right? So this is this hallucination. So how can we deal with this hallucination and try to ground large language model to identify fake claims on social media? So we built a so-called retrieval augmented generation system, a pipeline. I will not really go into the details of the logistics, but basically what is the idea is now we harvest all the scientific studies we can ever find from the PubMed, from all the databases. We identified a total of now this is old data. Now we have about 160,000 articles identified, and we use them as the ground truth. And then we embed the large language model on top of that and try to have a match regarding your claim as well as the underlying database. The model is much better compared to the out-of-pocket ChatGPT. In terms of accuracy, it can achieve accuracy based on simulation about 95%. Now, actually, we can boost up to almost 98% in identifying fake claims in social media. So one example is this. A social media claim is houseflies can transmit COVID-19, right? And this is the unaltered model outputs. So basically, the model tells this claim that houseflies can transmit COVID-19 virus is false. The reference given discuss the presence of on various surfaces, blah, 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 right? It's basically give a explanation of why this claim is false. And this also give you the 2 references from the database. And guarantee those 2 references are not hallucinated, right? They are real references. So, and then let's talk about precision nutrition. I don't know how many of you, if you don't mind, raise your hand. If you don't think that is a very private question, how many of you like eating nuts? Wow, that's a lot. Okay, great. Okay, so we are in a nutrition class, I guess, right? That's fantastic, right? Because the American the dietary guideline recommend nuts consumption, right, as part of a healthy food, especially for people for vegetarian, and it's really a healthy, nutrition dense diet, right? I like eating nuts all the time. I have nuts wherever I go. But really, when you eat nuts, you know that most of the nuts are not homogeneous, right? You have a mixed package that you have different nuts inside it, right? And when you grab a handful of nuts and want to consume it, it's very hard to tell unless you are a genius mathematician to figure out what is the total calorie, the total protein on this handful of nuts, right? Even if you read the nutrition facts label, it's very hard to figure this out, right? So what we thought is that, well, how can we make this more intuitive and worry-free? So we took 1,300 photos on different types of nuts. Actually, we went to different supermarkets to identify what are the common nuts that people consume. Actually, there are 11 of them, right? That's the most commonly consumed. For example, here there are a few like chestnuts, there's pecan, the almond, and then we draw those bounding boxes, right, on each of these nuts. So we locate each nut in the photo, and we also give the label, right? So this serves as the ground truth. And then we build a computer vision model to make predictions about, for example, here we have a handful of nuts. The computer vision model make a prediction of each type of nuts and where it is located, what's the probability for each nut types. And then we link that data to the USDA data, right, on each type of nuts, the nutritional portfolio, so that we come up with a web application that if you use a phone, just take a photo of the nuts you want to consume, and then you are going to get all the nutrition information, right, in the aggregate form. And the error margin is pretty low. It's up to 2.6%. So in this case, you won't have to try to be the mathematician to figure out what the total nutrition portfolio. You can just read through the screen. I think that is fun, or hopefully you think that way. And then inform policy in real time. So let's change gear to talk about a little bit about policy, because I was trained as a policy analyst. And for years, we studied about different health policies, and especially about soda taxes and calorie counting laws, right? So if for those of you who are not familiar with soda taxes, which implemented first in Berkeley City in 2015, and then later on, there were a total of 8 U.S. cities and counties that adopted soda tax, which test on the sale of soda as a way to reduce sugar consumption, right, as a way to curb the obesity epidemic. And in 2014, the FDA have a regulation on the so-called calorie counting law, or more known as the manual labeling regulation. So basically, all the fast food restaurants, the chain restaurant that have 20 or more locations nationwide are obligated to provide in the manual listing the calorie and the major nutrients, the macronutrients in each of the menu items. Okay? So that is the reason why now today, if you go to McDonald's, you will see that you have a menu with the nutrition facts. Okay? So that was because of that calorie counting law. And then our question is very simple. We want to know how people feel about those soda tax and calorie counting laws. Right? We want to do a so-called social media sentiment analysis. So we designed a search algorithm to systematically harvest all the tweets that we can harvest regarding soda taxes, and also separately the calorie counting laws. And we obtained about 400,000 tweets posted from 2008 all the way to 2023. Well, later on, we don't use Twitter that often because you have to pay like $5,000 a month, right? But previously, as a researcher, you can get up to 1 million data record a month for free. So, but anyway, so we don't have the human power to annotate all these 400,000 tweets, and it's not going to be fun, right? So we have 3 students who annotated just 10,000 randomly selected tweets from all those tweets, and we train a neural network model, and then we use the model to classify all the 400,000 tweets, so that we can track the change in people's sentiments. So just to give you an idea of how we label those tweets, an active tweet look like this. I call this soda tax idea elitist and authoritarian. Of course, this is pretty negative, right? A positive one would be imagine a way to cut healthcare costs in Philly and give kids pre-K. Pass a soda tax, right? Very positive. But you may also have a neutral view, right? Keeping an eye on Santa Fe soda tax vote tonight, right? Doesn't really review is positive or negative. Or the fourth annotation is label is linked to news. Basically, it's just talk about this. For example, today is the day. Stay tuned for the updates for the PA Supreme Court soda tax case, and then provide a link to the website, usually referring to a news article. So we label those tweets based on those 4 labels. And so what we found, first regarding the number of tweets, we found for the soda taxes, because the first soda tax in Berkeley was implemented in early 2015. So as you see that in 2016, there's suddenly a lot of talks about soda taxes. But then, 2017, you got to see people's novelty tend to wear off or whatsoever, right? Because it's implemented already, so it's not a big deal anymore. And regarding calorie counting laws, it's more have more up and downs, and that correlated actually with other legislations such as the Obama healthcare and other legislations. And regarding the sentiments, very interestingly, on the left-hand side, you see the soda taxes. On the right-hand side, there's calorie counting laws, and you see for both policies, the people who are holding neutral views tend to increase over time. Let's see whether I have a clicker here. Right, people holding the neutral views tend to increase over time, and the news articles tend to be reduced because it's not news anymore; it's old news. And on the other hand, very interestingly, you see that for both soda tax and for calorie counting law, especially for recent years, the people who are holding negative views here and here are almost 3 times as those holding positive views. Right? So most people, at least in Twitter, I won't say that they are generalizable to the entire population, but as in Twitter, the people who are holding negative views were a lot more than people holding positive views. Right? Okay. And very recently, I just came back from the 60 AI education conference in Pittsburgh, and we presented this study. So in this study, it actually took us over a year to do this because we are interested in how the U.S. universities adopt design and implement AI policies at the university level. Right? So we did a survey of the 50 top U.S. universities, and rest assured, NYU is one of them. Based on the 2024 U.S. news, like it or not, right? But we're proud of it, unless we dropped from the list, right? And because there were so many documents, there were over 500 different documents just at the university level, not counting departmental and school level, and it's just too many for us to review. So basically, we build our algorithm to iteratively review the piece and identify themes. Later on, we will talk about the algorithm we developed. What we found is that actually we can classify them into 6 categories of all those different university policies. One is addressing academic integrity and responsible AI use. Second is clear communication of AI policies. Third is the data privacy and the security concerns. Fourth is ethical considerations in AI use. Fifth is continuous adaptation and policy evaluation. And the last one is instructor discretion in AI integration. Right? So 6 those major domains. And then we don't have the full presentation, but basically what we did is we thought, well, how we can draw like a 2-dimensional chart to label, right, universities and see where the clusters are, right? On the horizontal axis is from the least adopted policy to the most adopted policy. On the y-axis is from the really conservative policies to the very liberal policies, right? And we start to draw this chart to see where the universities are, where those policies are clustered, right? But well, if you're interested in this, so this is the QR code. Later on, you are, make sure that you prepare your phone. We will have a lot of QR code. So this is the first one that we have our full study results published here. I think this will be really useful for a lot of universities when they consider to either design or implement AI policies, because you won't have to start from scratch. There will already tons of stuff there, right? So first is to consider there are multi-dimensions in framing AI policies, right? And those 6 domains give you a pretty good idea. And second, if you can drill down into details, there are detailed explanation for each themes and where the universities rank are there in each of those 6 themes. Yeah, hopefully that's That's useful, although not super entertaining, I admit. And another project, another set of project we are doing is to use AI as a way to advance disease monitoring and diagnosis. We have some interesting project. One is regarding self-reporting height and weight, right? So in a nutshell, how we measure obesity at the population level is very simple, right? We use BMI, and you know that BMI is calculated by height and weight, right? But there are two ways to measure BMI, right? One is objective measure, that you have a tape and you have scale to measure people's height and weight. But that is not really very scalable because it's expensive, right? Think about if the BRFS, risk factor surveillance system, every year they survey 500,000 people, right? They have to have a lot of human power to do this. On the other hand, is the objective measures are definitely more accurate. On the other hand, the simple way is I just ask around the room, right? What's your height and what's your weight? Just self-report. But the problem is that one, that a lot of time we don't remember their recall issue, measurement error. And the second, we don't want to report it the right way, right? So we manipulate the data. And that actually has a huge toll on the accuracy at the population level regarding obesity prevalence. For example, if we measure in the objective way, the obesity prevalence in the US a few years ago is say 26%, whereas measured in the self-reported way is only 31.9%. There's a huge difference between those two, right? And that is going to basically bias our health policies. So what we did, we asked the question is, can we come up with a simple model that can correct this bias for us so that we can still rely on just self-report, but the data is as good as it's objectively measured, right? So that you won't have to measure that. You just report and the model is going to do the magic, right? So what we did is we collected from the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey data. We got 50,000 adults, national representative, with both the measured weight and height as well as self-reported weight and height. So we just built a bridge, right? We tried a lot of different models. Those are the models we tried. None of them is difficult. No data science undergrads could do this, right? And then we just select out of all those models, we try different combinations, different hyperparameter parameterization, and we just choose the best model. And not surprisingly, XGBoost come to the best. And using that model, we can reduce the discrepancy between self-reported and measured height by 22%, weight by 2%, BMI by 11%. And really nicely, if we just care about obesity, we don't care about exactly height and weight, we care about obesity because that is the clinical measure we are interested in. It can reduce the discrepancy by 99.5%. So basically, the difference between the predicted the obesity rate and the measured obesity rate is almost identical. There's no statistical no difference anymore. Okay? So it means that you use our model, you won't have to really, if you're just interested in the population measure, not individual measure, population measure, then you won't have to collect all this data with human power. You can rely on the self-reported data. So another pilot project we are doing, so it's interesting, but it's also quite challenging. So we know that biologically obesity influences people's voices. For example, through the vocal tract size and shape. It can also impact your breath control, impact your lung capacity, and also through inflammation. Right? So we want to ask a question of whether we can just predict obesity based on a short audio recording of people's voice. Right? So we've done this with about 700 people, half obese, half non-obese, and we just asked each of them use their cell phone to record like 20 seconds pre-written script. Right? A New York article. Well, no, that's too long, right? So very short, and then they just send us their data, okay? Together with their measure, the height and the weight. And then we use a so-called spectrogram. Basically, we convert their voice data into images, as you can see on the left-hand side, so that we can use computer vision models to make classifications. Right? So as you see, there's two people here. One is non-obese, one is obese. Can you tell the difference between these two just by looking at the spectrogram of your voice data? No, you can. Anyone can? You start to see the yes. Go ahead.
Some black thing over there for obese, like thing.
Yeah, so is that right? So there are some slight differences. But no, I'm tricking. I'm sorry, I'm tricking you because this is just one data point, right? Then you have another 669 data points, right? So if you just eyebrow those data very quickly, no, you're going to come to tears, right? So, but it doesn't really mean that machine cannot figure it out, right? Because machine read the data completely different than our naked eyes. So the model was not that great, okay? The global accuracy is 65% to 70%. Okay, so it's not a very great model, definitely not used in clinical setting. But no, it represents a very first step for us to try out whether voice can be used as a biomarker, because the voice is non-invasive, right? And could be used as some of the biomarkers. But of course, a lot of testing need to be done. Okay? Still very, very preliminary. And another project is like we look at the accuracy of disease diagnosis using ChatGPT. Okay, the reason why we do this is because now at NYU we all have this fantastic healthcare, right? That most people in this world don't have the privilege to access. Right, in rural China and in India. The literature shows that the diagnosis accuracy is only 15 to 26%. So means most of the people were misdiagnosed, right? So for various reasons, right? So we want to see whether even the free version, GPT 3.5, we use this because this is not a state-of-the-art model, but this is free, right? We want to see whether even the GPT 3.5 can make some reasonable diagnosis, probably even stronger than what the data shows, right? So what we did is we collaborate with physicians to write scripts about how a representative rural resident, right? Without probably most of them don't have the higher education, they describe their symptom, right? For 9 different diseases, 5 non-communicable disease, another 4 infectious disease, and we write scripts for each of these conditions based on the physician's description. Right? And then we tested out. I don't want to go this, but this is just a flow chart how we design this intervention. We just bring these cases to ChatGPT to see how ChatGPT is making prediction. 2 predictions. One is what the disease it described, and second, what the medication they should be prescribed. So so the ChatGPT can achieve the accuracy of diagnosis about 67 to 70% of the case of the time, right? And the accuracy increased to 75% if we just consider 1 out of 3 trials to be successful. If we use a more liberal approach definition, then up to 75%. Right? Of course, it's not that good, but well, one is large language model is still evolving. Nowadays, we have just a few days ago we have GPT 4.5, right? Which I know people don't like it. People think, well, this is not good for coding, not good for logic thinking, but it's really good for chatting. Right? Very very empathetic. So, but anyway, this shows that the large language model have the capacity to provide accurate diagnosis probably down the road, right? At least working together with physicians to improve their diagnosis accuracy. Maybe some of the charts that were not written, not really clearly clearly viewed may that the ChatGPT or other language model may bring that to the physician as a way for consideration. Right? Okay, and then regarding revolutionize research tooling, so presumably some of you are working in qualitative analysis, right? No thematic analysis, no quantity theory, etc. Right? No, a lot of time as qualitative scientists, we were really concerned about the cost and the time we spend going through each transcripts. So in collaboration with OpenAI, we pioneered a sophisticated prompt engineering approach and try to automate the thematic analysis. So we experimented with about 500 transcripts from focus groups, from interviews, and then we used the algorithm we built to automatically identify the themes, give explanation of the themes, and also providing original codes to support each theme. And then we compare them to the published articles, okay? Because all the 500 transcripts have been published somewhere, okay? So that is the published article will serve as the ground truth, okay? And we compare the model-generated ones with the published themes. I will not go into the nitty-gritty details about this approach, but actually it's pretty simple. So the idea is that we chunk the transcript because the transcripts are really, really long, right? Like a 1 hour interview can transcribe into about 10,000 or 15,000 words, right? So we have to chunk the transcript into smaller sizes. We extract relevant themes from each small chunk, and then we iteratively aggregate the themes together and reduce overlapping to the participant level and then to the study level. Okay? And then we have 5 fantastic doctoral students evaluating on a 5-point Likert scale regarding the 4 criteria: how well the original the generated theme correspond to the published theme, and the succinctness. Are the generated themes repetitive in nature or are distinctive? And third, the quality explanation. Are the explanation to the theme make sense or make up? And finally is the quality of codes. Are the codes make up or the codes directly support the theme? Okay. And what we found is that in general, the model, the algorithm does what it claimed to do, and we get satisfactory results. Okay. It's not great, but it's satisfactory. So the Likert score from 0 to 4. 4 is the highest score you can get. And for the first one, the theme alignment is 2.75 out of 4, and succinctness is 3.4 out of 4. Quality of examinations is 3.3 out of 4, and random codes is 2.8 out of 4. Okay? So they are not great, but that's a good start. But if I tell you the cost of that, say one study has 15 transcribed interviews, okay, each with 10,000 words, and that take the machine 30 minutes computational time, and the total cost is about $10. Okay, think about how many graduate students you need to hire, how long it's going to take you to do this. Okay? So that's the catch. Okay? And what is more nicely is that we make it public. So we created this algorithm and created an API, and now you can just scan this QR code to be able to find the API, and it has been downloaded hundreds of times. It become really popular for a lot of qualitative researchers, especially for those who are kind of skeptical. They want to really see how well it does the job. And my doctoral student even created a very nice YouTube demo about how you use this, right? So even if you have limited programming sufficiency, that's completely fine. Okay? Feel free to use it, and it's completely free. Okay, and I will just briefly talk about AI's educational impact. We talk about the scientific impact, but let's move on to educational. I'll be very brief. So over the past several years, I just came to WashU actually a few months ago. Previously, I was with the Washington University in St. Louis for 5 years, where I developed a number of AI educational courses and modules. So one is that I created the so-called artificial intelligence and big data analytics for public health certificate. It consists of 4 courses, and we have trained several hundred students on this course. Okay? So the key here, the key lesson I learned is that, well, for STEM students, right, for engineering students, for math students, they don't need really to learn the basics. They can learn by themselves a lot of time, right, for those basics. But it's extremely hard to teach, for example, students, from school medicine, public health, humanity, right, communication, social work, right? It's going to be very different. You have to completely rethink how you are going to teach programming skills, mathematics, algorithms to those students. And so over time, I got a lot of experience of how to do this in a less painful, but realistic and also ambitious way. So we have these 4 courses in the sequence in the certificate program: applied machine learning, applied deep learning, introduction to Python, and data algorithms bias. I would say those are the 4 fundamental courses that can really benefit the public health and social work, and I would say in general social science students. And I'm so glad to see actually many students in public health and social work, later on they get data science positions, right? So this never happened before. So it's not to say that they can't learn well. You just need to teach them differently, right? So and you don't compromise. Actually, it's just a different way of teaching. We all probably have this kind of sense that if you read a textbook and you are frustrated because you don't really understand a thing about this textbook, and you start to be reflective, this is not my problem. This is the textbook problem. This definitely in this world, there's going to be one textbook that teaches me the thing that I can understand, right? So exactly that's this case. The students, a lot of time, the humanities, social science student, they go to statistics department, they go to math department, they go to CS department, they got so frustrated. They would say, I would never want to learn data science again. It's just not my food, right? But this is just a tragedy, right? Because they don't realize this not their problem, right? It's the problem that the course is not designed for them, right? With them in mind. Right? So that is we can talk hours on this, but let's move on to another program that I developed for people, working professionals who have limited time, only meet during the weekend. So this is a 1 semester long course called Artificial Intelligence Applications for Health Data, really addressing professionals and people from a lot of different domains. Some are government officials, some are physicians, and some are nutritionists, etc. So we have trained almost about 200 students through this online-only certificate program. I remember clearly there's one physician at WashU who is almost at retirement age. He is 65, I think, and is at 3 a.m. in the morning, he was still working on his homework assignment. He submitted that and then sent me a message saying, I can't imagine at this retirement age and working this hard to learn data science, right? So really great to see those brilliant people. Doesn't really matter your age, your background. We can all learn. You just need to find a way that makes sense to you. Okay? And so the course is taught with all those case examples. There's not a lot of math. We try to minimize the math. We have a lot of programming though, but all those are living examples that you can relate to, right? A physician will relate to pneumonia and X-ray. A public health researcher will be related to a question answer bot for COVID-19 symptom, right? Environmentalist will probably relate to natural human disasters, right? So you just need to find a lot of case studies to motivate people, right? Because presumably we can have this talk on the math algorithm, and half of them would fall into sleep, the other half would politely leave, right? So the reason why you're here is because I'm trying to have some kind of story, right? And then we also developed some AI tooling for education innovation. So about 2 years ago, we developed this AI writing detector. I think this is really accurate that we tested. So we leveraged a data set of 13,000 student written essays. Okay? And then we built an algorithm to differentiate machine versus ChatGPT versus student written essays using a statistical algorithm. We will not really go into detail, but it's pretty accurate with an AUC score of 99%, a very low false positive and negative rate. But again, I would say nowadays, I don't think I will redo this because I truly believe, but we all have different opinions, right? Some teachers are still very strict, right, using those algorithm detector to try to punish students, right, who use ChatGPT or other models. But I would say that's probably not going to prevent this because most students are already doing, right? It's just our professors who don't have the capacity to use ChatGPT professionally. So it should be the opposite. It should be how we think about we can collaborate with AI to make something bigger that neither human being nor AI can make by themselves, right? But anyway, so we had our mistake, but good news, we have a publication. So now we are working in a very interesting new web app development. So if you are from the social work, you know, but if not, probably it's very weird to you that how we social workers communicate to clients, how we train social work students to be proficient in talking to clients. Actually, we use the role playing. So for example, the 4 or 5 of us in the front row, we form a group, and each of you pretend to be a client. Maybe you are you addict to drug, right? Maybe you have dementia, right? Maybe you are in financial, you are dropped out from the high school, right? And involved in some illegal activity, right? So those are the clients that social workers we try to work with, right? Try to identify the problem, try to give them resources, right? To work their way out of those unhealthy, risky behaviors. But through role playing, you have to be a really good player, right, in addressing those roles. But most of us, I'm terrible. I can't really pretend to be anyone else, right? So, and it's also very time consuming, right? Each of you play the role and it doesn't feel realistic at all. And it's worse for the social work professors. We have to observe your talk for 1 hour, write notes for another hour, and then spend another 2 hours just to write individual feedback. That's 4 hours per student per session. If you have a dozen students, 2 dozen students, how can you do this? Impossible, right? So that is the reason why we developed, in collaboration with my great colleagues at WashU, a generative AI-powered web app that each AI is an avatar, and it has a backstory, right? But you don't know the story unless you talk to the avatar, right? And then not only that, at the end of the session, the machine, the web app is going to give you a very detailed rubric of what you did great, what not so great, what needs to be improved, what you never want to say in front of a client. Okay? So come the end of development. So this is the interface that you can pick your fight. No, you can pick your client, and then start the conversation, right? And then after that, you can evaluate using a lot of different rubrics that are commonly used to assess competency of social work students. Okay, that is the commercial secret, right? I just told you, shouldn't do that. And regarding the social impact, first, community outreach. I really love to give lectures. Really great to see professors. But a lot of time I'm working with teenagers. Right? So this is one session we offered in collaboration with St. Louis Library that we taught those teenagers how to use AI to create painting, right? Create artwork. And just before, 10 minutes before the session, we saw like 7 people lead with a teacher. So they walk each holding the other's shoulder and coming into the classroom. As you can tell, they are visually impaired. Okay, they are from the Missouri School for the Blind. Okay? So all the 7 students, they have the vision so poor that they have to hold each other's shoulder. Okay, to lead the way. But the tutorial is about teaching how to create art for people who cannot even see. Okay, but really, to my amazement, those are the artwork that created by those people with blindness. Okay. Really beautiful arts. In the middle, it was created by a girl, and the two on the two sides are created by boy. Okay. And when they wrote their prompt, their face have to be this close to be able to see what they are typing. But really amazing, I think, is that because they are visually impaired, they probably have a lot of imagination. So they wrote their prompt in a really elegant way, very descriptive way, so that they can create arts like this. Okay. I have numerous talks. I previously visited Shanghai, alumni, and talked there, meeting with the alumni offices and people. And we have two classes. Actually, I'm co-teaching. I'm the teaching assistant of my older son, who is 8th grade, that he opened 2 semester-long courses in the St. Louis Chinese Modern Chinese School, teaching from the 5th grader all the way to high school students. One is how to use generative AI to create web application. The other is how to use prompt engineering and ChatGPT to monetize. Okay, basically creating something that you can sell on the market. Business secret. So over the years, we create a lot of we call forum workshops. This is one of the workshop series we created at WashU. It's called AI in the Social Sciences. If you scan this, you'll get the YouTube channel with a lot of talks that we offer. They're probably about 60, more than 60 talks about different aspects of AI. So here is just a flavor of what we talk about. For example, it's really cut a wide range. We have reimagine quantitative research with AI, how AI is going to interact with social work profession, how to write effective ChatGPT prompts, all the way to AI ethics, algorithm biases, etc. Okay, so those are the links. I think if you are in this email, Alice, later on we can send the presentation slides so you won't have to find them yourselves. Okay. And social media presence. Just for the last couple of weeks, I become a frequent user of LinkedIn. First, I have to declare I have no whatever relationship with LinkedIn, but I like it because I think that's the way we can disseminate a lot of AI-related information. So recently, I wrote a number of white papers on higher education policy and in particular AI and higher ed. So this is one of them that we talk about how actually, to my really personal perspective, I think the US is lagging behind in higher education integrating with AI. We have the most brilliant researchers in AI. We have the most investment in AI in Silicon Valley, but unfortunately, the 99% of people are lagging behind. Okay. In comparison to many other countries, here we listed a few countries that are really promoting AI to the general public, right? So some of the countries listed in the report have detailed national plan to bring AI to every single classroom by 2027. Okay. So that is how the AI can be strategized, right, to promote education. Many universities now in China and South Korea, they have AI tutors, right, embedded in the classroom, right? But in the US, we almost have none of that, okay? And it's very much driven by the resource of the school, a school district, states, etc. Okay, so a lot need to be changed. So here I wrote 15 bold ideas. I know most likely they're not going to adopt it, but I just wrote my way. I think it's really urgent because if we don't really pay attention to AI in education, think about the next generation, right? We are going to be left behind. Right? It is not just a play by the billionaires, right? Everyone needs to participate and benefit from AI education. Dissemination, yeah, I've done a lot of media interview, not because I like it, but because I truly believe that is the way we get out of this ever tower and get our words out, right? Because if you ask a general people, talk about that. I published a journal article. What do you mean by journal? What the journal is? What kind of journal it is, right? It's the People Journal, right? So a lot of time, for the media interview, the reporter try to ask you to say something they want you to say, right? We need to pay attention to that. But well, I would say that is one of the prominent way that we can get our words out. So people, general public, start to know your story. You really have some kind of tangible impact rather than just being praised by increasing your impact factor, right? Finally, I wrote 2 books. So the first book was published about 2 years ago. It was well received, and then later on, they translated into Chinese and sold thousands of copies. So this book is really about the ChatGPT. Now, how we can leverage ChatGPT to do research, right? So that was 6 months after ChatGPT was on the market. So we have students and we work on several thousand prompts trying out different ways that ChatGPT could contribute to research. So from generating research ideas to hypothesis testing, to literature review, to qualitative analysis, to address peer reviews, comments, etc. Right? So all different ways that you can use ChatGPT to streamline, to help with your research. And the second book, I just wrote and published it a few days ago. Is called as you can read this, right? Federal shifts in higher ed. So basically, we were our research is totally messed up, right? By those federal policies and the DEIs and the NIH funding cap, the NSF budget cut, the USAID, the global collaboration, you name it, right? So this book is not well written because I was in a hassle and I was very depressed, right? I was writing this, so I write it in a deliberately humorous way, just to let myself feel better, right? So that's the book if you're interested. So the 99 cent is the lowest price I can offer on Amazon. Okay? They don't allow me to have 0, right? Because they want to make a profit. But anyway, so that's, I think, conclude my presentation with a call to action. Some of you attended our AI for Health and Social Equity conference on February 18th. We held a conference. It's a whole day conference, well attended. The NYU President Linda Mills gave an opening speech, and Professor Joshua Angrist, Nobel laureate, gave a keynote speech, etc. So we have a full room of brilliant people brainstorming idea on AI, how AI can help with social equity and health. So I'll make the same call to action as ABC. A is to attend, especially attend in person. That's great. And second is bond, and third is collaborate. So we have already attended this, and we start to form the bond. So that's we have a full room of brilliant people that think about how we can collaborate, especially in this trying time. That's all. Thank you so much.